the strength of soul. I want to honor and cherish my own heart first and foremost for doing what I do, taking the paths that I take, opening up my heart to some that others hate, seeing the wisdom from within go to shambles in some person or person's mind. And then to have it freed from that possession that others placed on it. And then to be told that it's a trance vision that others are working with versus the embodiment of who I am as soul. This is why many who are on the screen now know who I am and how I got here. The benefits of soul are what most are looking for when they climb into the vision of who I am. You see, I'm the strength of her soul. And I tell her, don't doubt my wisdom. Don't doubt my strength. Don't doubt my honesty about the lengths I go to herald in the new age. We're in the new age of beginnings, which means that the beginnings of who we are in each and every moment is of honor. But when we go outside of that vision and look at others as if they were less than in some way, shape, or form, we can often get that handed back to us. Now, what that means is that many are saying, I can't handle that vision. It hurts me. So why would I go to soul? Why would I do that vision if it means that I have to hear the negativity that I am creating with, abiding by, and choosing over the strength of who I am as soul? To spend time on the internet slashing those souls right in half. That's where some souls go when they talk about the nature of the terrorism that others are participating in, and those who are saying I was torn in half based on the bombs of old. This is not about anything happening now. But this is what Brenda is saying to people, that at least when we are in the vision, that we are able to create beauty with those who are here to help us learn from their misdoings. You see, most will say mistakes. It was a mistake in the idea that people thought that their actions were going to have any lasting impact other than the pain and misfortune of others on this plane. That's why that bomb carrier was there as well. Now, that's why Brenda honors the souls who are here to show us where they were in their moments, how they conquered the fear of the unknown when they crossed over, and how they saw the vision of love that came to them in their moments. Now, others will say it was a hellish realm that I went to when I had to participate in those events on my own self in some way, shape, or form. This is why many are starting to doubt the nature of who Brenda is. Right? She's had her upcomings for many souls, correct? She led a straight and narrow life in many ways. My path was predestined, is what some would say. Brenda said, I just created from the unknown all my life, knowing that it was there for me. My unknown is the known at this point with my soul. My soul knows who's coming through and why. My soul grants me the vision of those who are ending their lives. Predetermined is what many would say. It is not always predetermined. Some will have those episodes of destruction that they participate in, whether they want to realize it or not. We're creating from this place of unknown sorrow. That's where many are. But to be of strength isn't always of destruction, yet that is where many are utilizing that strength, thinking the strength of soul is about power, when in fact it's about the gentle nature of who we are and how we utilize our vision most often. That's her strength. To see behind the veil, to see behind those who are participating in those visions of destruction from the place of I must destroy in order to redeem some aspect of who we are as souls. You see, her vision is it's a one-man show in many minds, whether they want to align with that idea that this subjective vision of guidance, right? People want the guidance for their own soul. So Brenda is here saying, there is a beautiful strength that comes with my soul, which is allowing me to create with a pleasure dome of soul. It's basically I'm under the dome or umbrella of soul. And that means that my vision is highlighted as soul, and I'm granted the beauty of it. I'm not there to try to challenge those who say I'm less than some other vision that they themselves crossed their hearts with. What I am here to say is that those who do that vision are often in the nature of honor and reverence and the strength to know that they are saved once they witness themselves coming through from their soul, correct? Do you want to know how many people don't know what it's like to align with your own soul in essence and have that vision brought to you in beauty? And then to be able to open up to the nature of the love of all, which is where she is in her heart most often. It's the mind that can challenge her, and her family tree sometimes will acknowledge that vision that she has a struggle with the deaths of her family because it's an emotional connection that she creates. She's bypassing the pain of her life, is what some would say, by doing this vision. Saying it's not living, it's being within the death realms of soul. There's no death in who we are as soul. We rise into the nature of who we are as soul, and we embody the beauty of who we are. We caretake the hearts of many. We allow for those who betray us to move on, to feel their own beauty in their own ways. And that's when people start to say, movement side to side. She goes side to side most often. She never does allow for others to jump across the depths of her cavern. She is a cavern in itself. She knows how to jump over those caverns that are created by others who are trying to devastate the vision and to devastate the field of beauty that she offers for most. Whether or not you can allow yourself to go there with her or not is up to you. She's had to bring through the deaths of family members of old, those that she's never known, those that she was slightly aware of, and those that she has never met. And that is the destruction that many talk about, thinking this is a field of vision of, I'm here to reveal secrets. But that is not what is caretaken. It is the nature of how I feel when I go through the process. It can be a destructive process for some of us. It can be an honoring of many. And that's why we want people to align with the vision that if you are feeling beautiful for who you are, that's a beautiful place to create from. If you're feeling gorgeous, right? Everyone's thinking beautiful somehow means the physical presentation. Brenda is so strong in the sense of self that she no longer vibrates in the idea that she's less than anyone that's ever walked upon this plane. That's how strong her sense of soul is as well. I align with those who understand we're here to do a service to some, and for others it may feel like a disservice. But she's got her eye on the ball and has planted it firmly in the future for generations. And that means that those who come across as aware of what is or isn't of notice, you will not notice the shift in her vision until you see her in action. You will see the beauty of your own soul coming through in the words that are presented to you from your love, no matter where you vibrate. Here on this plane, you get to see the beauty of who you are. You get to align with the idea that I am always caretaken in my heart and mind. I am no angel is where Brenda is, but she has vibrated in the beauty of one. And that means it is a higher than most people could ever reach kind of vision in their minds, right? Her soul knows what that vision is like, and it's beyond most people's recognition. You can go to these altered states of being, the consciousness and the unconscious. That's where she usually resides, is I'm aware of my conscious vision. My subconscious is beautiful for me. My soul will often bring me that back It can be a trauma for me sometimes about thinking, what am I creating with certain souls from my past, right? It is usually others' visions that trauma is to be worked out that can then recreate it in a moment where it's not necessary. This is why Brenda is aware of the idea that some people are working on certain ideas of psychology or of spirituality that are not right for them in that moment based on where they are in their own lives. This is the nature of why your soul knows what's best for you. Literally, for the path of destruction, right? It depends on what you want for your life. There's no good or bad or right or wrong. But if you want a more enjoyable path of your vision of destruction, right? Some of us are here to do the destruction that allows other things to come in. Others are here to embody the vision of love that allows for people to destroy themselves, is what some would say. You see, that's what people do when they go to those bombers of old. And yet we don't dissuade others from taking those routes, do we? Since we're still in the mindset of those who are of war in the mind, are creating it in our field of vision. You see, Brenda is more about the precursors of war, and this is why she talks strong. I know what you are saying and doing in order to do what you're doing. So if you are here to destroy, claim it, own it, and see it for what it is. Stop claiming you're of peace if you're here doing the dehumanizing of others with your words. That is how many will destroy others. They will dehumanize others. And she sees it. And she says, I understand. But most people don't understand the nature of what that does for a soul to know that. And to know that those who destroy others have often felt like it was coming from within. And that is the destruction of many of those of channeling, because in essence, if they're aligning with their own soul, their soul doesn't destroy them, they enhance them. We enhance our souls, we lift ourselves up, we give ourselves, the kudos and the congratulations for who we are. We made it. We did what we needed to do for ourselves in this area of our life. We now get the beauty and the benefit and the bounty of living, is where many will go with that vision. Brenda is holding carefully to that soul's vision that loves her, adores her, but wants to destroy others with his mind. That is where others will say it's necessary in order for us to move forward. That is why Brenda says most people don't realize what is truly needing to be destroyed in order for the results to come through. And that is why she wins the arguments for most. And that's why her soul gives her congratulations for allowing for others who are saying it's not about destroying souls. It's about the concepts and the illumination of who we are as humans and as souls, walking upon this plane, doing the best damn job that we can, whenever we can. That's who she is. I'm doing my best for my family and friends most often. But my soul knows why that is. You see, people who claim that they are here to do work for society have never understood the nature of looking at the beauty of the planet as the best thing for it, rather than focusing and highlighting on the tragedies and destruction around us. Okay? It depends on your point of view about which place or plane of awareness you want to vibrate and operate in. Brenda's here for us here. She honors the vision of all souls. And she says, I fight for our freedom from those who are trying to create havoc for us for wanting it, for claiming it, and for seeing it for others, whether they realize that their mindset is in a state of control or if they have created the prison in their own minds, or if someone else has claimed that for them. So you see, My honor is yours. My distancing of myself from certain souls is a necessary outcome that I needed to do in order to see me for who I was, am, and am planning on becoming. You see, others will say, and always will be, this is what Brenda was saying for those who have already crossed over and have that I'm already there vision. Brenda's always going to be in the vision of the love of all. What she won't do is give in to that idea that I have to please everybody in order for them to feel the love. It is a concept of deception that many utilize as a manipulative tactic. And that idea that I love you, I set you free, is where she operates with certain souls. It's a guaranteed outcome that many are working with when they go to the nature of who I am. They think I can bring them their hosting services, right? I was never allowed to do the beautiful work that I wanted until recently due to the nature of a hosting service that I was betrayed by, correct? It's not that. It's more about aligning with those who I love or those who I know who are holding me back in my mind from expressing the beauty of now I have an alliance created with my own family member to help me lift out of the victimhood of blame for my situation to one of empowerment. And it's like the responsibility of who I am and the choices that I make. Now, my soul never gave me the okay for the service that I chose. But it's a boon at some point. And my soul now says, I'm ready to release the anger, right? There's no anger here. There's no vision that others need to be angry. So this is why people will stop and think about, what am I really here to say about who I am versus the nature of my soul that beats in the heart of America most often, but has the heart of an angel that wants others to see the beauty of who they are from their own perspective of soul, that doesn't beat them down and tear them apart based on limitations placed upon them from times long ago. This is why others know what that vision is that she's working with. And your own soul is cherishing every moment for you and of you, saying it's enlightening us to the nature of, someone is saying possession. So this is that Catholic vision often. It can be from many different souls, but they definitely vibrate in that beauty of that term, thinking that it is somehow a helpful boon to their system. For isn't it right that we wouldn't want for people to rise up, embody their own soul's wisdom, leave the church potentially, right? It could be that those wisdoms are what are allowing them to free themselves up enough that they don't have to bring through the anger of who they are, but they could bring the beauty. So you see, this is also a warning, right? No, it's not a warning. It's an understanding that if you are open to the nature of soul and you're going to church to lift yourself up so that you can be in the beauty of one, right? What is your goal of going there if it isn't to rise up out of the destruction of the planet or of your own heart, right? Or of the nature of who you are, right? So those who are saying, I'm looking out at the world and I'm seeing people as less than me because my book tells me something different, haven't actually been through the process of encompassing their heart's desires. Many are just angry or choosing victimhood or choosing destruction because it feels better in the moment. I like feeling down and dirty with souls. Brenda can get into that vision very quickly with certain souls. And she says, I honor the vision of love of all my friends and family, whether we agree to disagree about who I am or not. I've proven my worth to many. I had to. I don't have to prove it to myself. I know the strength of my words. I know the strength of my vision, and I know the strength and quality of the soul visions that I receive. What I don't do is I don't belittle others. I assume I know where they are. And usually it is in fear of who I am. As soul, I'm not riding that train of love as much as I used to. There used to be a soul that I would vibrate with, and I would be like, oh, I'm going on that train of love. It's the soul train, and souls have different ideas about what's best for them or what's needed in this lifetime. And that is something that many are starting to utilize. Oh, I have a destined path. If you feel like your path is destined, it means that you've limited your opportunities for expansion. But in that expression, you would be feeling and limiting the expressions of destiny as well. And so we want you to feel beautiful in that idea that if I'm destined to be famous, for instance, which many feel that they are, then they would create from that place of I am famous and I'm beautiful and I'm wisdom embodied. They have the wisdom to know that they're deluxe. It's more like these are those souls who are already there in their minds and spot it and vibrate in it and caretake it and open it and see it for what it is. It has its boons, its benefits, and its problems, right? It's more like focusing on the boons and benefits of fame and familiarity is where some are, because what happens is they get labeled various things either justly or unjustly due to the nature of their influence, their popularity, their beingness, or their caretaking of others' hearts. It depends on each soul. But that is the nature of where many go, thinking that to be of influence is of fame. It can be of fortune. It can be of familiarity. It can be of boon to your soul. Many will line themselves with certain souls of fame to think that somehow it's going to enlighten them to the nature of it. Brenda has opened herself up to the nature of I'm illuminating those souls who also had those destructive natures in their minds and what it brought to them here. Did it bring fame and fortune to everyone, or did it bring destruction to the planet? That's where some are. Some are glorifying the destructive abilities, and others are saying it's a necessary ingredient for who we are in order for us to see what needs to go. Often it is those things that are held dearly in certain minds of people that I know. Okay? Now, this is why Britta is bringing through this vision. It's her soul that says the Catholic progression into sainthood is where she was aligned. She knows she knows many who are of that faith, and they are honoring of those who have caretaken the hearts and minds of so many souls that they rise into the beauty of who they are. When Brenda is saying, but we're all able to get there. We don't need to be anointed as a saint in order to be the beauty of who we are. We can vibrate in the beauty of destruction if we honor it as a necessary step to move us forward as a race, right? Human race. It's more about the dignity of the planet, to be honest, because we could be destroying the planet and our ability and our habitats are absolutely, important. Now, this is why Brenda is very much of I try to do the best that I can for my family, my friends, the environment. And to be honest, my life is often conflicted because we know that there's no one right way to be. You can either be shallow and observing. That's where some people would say that this vision is. It's a shallow vision of the depth of who I am as soul. I'm very revealing of certain things that are private to me as a soul in certain sessions. And then in other sessions, I like to keep it a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more, reserved. I'm not as open as what many would want because there's a good gossip story on every page, isn't there? That's what people think that she's aligned with, this idea of celebrity gossip. And she's like, that's so far from the truth. It's not even funny. I never did go into the idea of what gossip columnists were. And Landers is a soul that would come through as more of a, I honored people with their stories that they came to me with, and I was of advice and wisdom granted. That's where Brenda is in her wisdom. It's more like, what kind of advice are you looking for? Are you looking for the latest stories of doom and gloom? Are you looking for the heartbeat of America? Because Brenda was. Because she says it's the ripple effect that we often have. She was of joy. She was of pain. She has her moments of celebration, right? Of the Trump trial. She felt better. It was a relief, not a celebration. That's an honesty. Yet she denies the vision that she's somehow biased, right? She knows that she has the bias because she says, I see what it is that's going on. And others will say, well, he was dishonored in your vision. Absolutely not. Go look at his vision as it was portrayed by his soul. He was honored for his soul's vision. This tells you the strength of who I am. So let's not get our panties in a bunch and think that there's going to be revolts left and right. Okay? He is of honor from his soul. There are others who will say we honor the vision that it is lighting a fire in our hearts about what needs to be done on this plane. That's where Brenda is. It's showing us what still needs to be uncovered from beneath the depths of our hearts. Because most of us aren't in our hearts with that vision. We would say, I see it for what it is. Others are like, it needs to go. It needs to be destroyed. There's no destruction. Brenda's more like, we need to vibrate out of the beauty of dishonesty in all planes of awareness, all visions, whether they are Democrat or Republican or independent or just even on our own personal plane of, I'm here to do the dishonesty of soul. I love who I am. You do too. You love who you are. That's the beauty of who you are. You love who you are. What the next vibration is do you love others? And when people say, they go, of course I love others. Yes, you do. You often portray yourself as loving others. Others will say, I don't see the love in the eyes of many. And the reason is because many are saying, I do love other people. And that is my choice to distance myself from those who don't caretake my heart. Those who choose to tread upon my vision. Okay? That's what many are doing. They're saying, I'm here to tell you there's something wrong with you. And Brenda says that's the first thing that she understands. She understands those who think there's something wrong with something versus those who say, I understand it is a concept or a behavior, not the actuality of who they are as souls. There's usually more going on behind the scenes, not only from a psychological understanding, and we don't mean from a place of diagnosis, but from the biological, and we spiral up into the nature of their souls are working double time on her behalf to make sure she is not highlighting Trump as negative. It is not about that vision. Those who think that she embodies the vision of him have got it all wrong. She is in the spiraling of her own soul. She is in the spiraling of the beauty of who we are. You have the abilities to do that yourself, potentially, if that's one of the things. And Brenda's like, I honor my heart. I know who I would vote for. But that does not mean I'm against his soul's vision of who he thinks he needs to be in every moment and in every breath. That's the honesty. Does it mean that in my mind when I go out that I would be like, yes, that's the best thing? It is the most honest appraisal of who we are as souls that we could possibly get for people who are of various faiths or wisdoms to see that everything you have is aligned within. This is a nature. We look out to see what we're creating, but that's the nature. When you go in, you see who you are. I'm taking enough time to see who I am, to see the wisdom, and to see the caretaking of my hearts in many realms. This is why many say, Brenda, your messages are very transparent. They're supposed to be. Do you know what it's like to go against your own values with somebody on the soul level and know that they're there showing us something that we love about ourselves, whether or not we want to know it? Right? I'm a biased soul, right? No, there are biases that I inhabit in various moments, in various times and planes in which I vibrate. I'm not the neutral soul in every way, shape, or form, because to me, I will discern what is best for me or my family most often, and then I often open my heart to the caretaking of all souls. And that's when those messages of love of all for us come through. This is that nature of the energy work that others are starting to feel. So Brenda has the access to the I love all, but I will hold space for his soul's vision to be brought through. That's how bad it was for certain souls, thinking that somehow in their minds she meant that she adored his soul or his choices or his vision. And just because she does that, people will say, oh my gosh, that must be the hardest thing to do. It is not the hardest thing to do if you already feel and beat in the heart of your own soul. It's not the hardest thing to do if you are strongly grounded in the sense of I matter and I am of worth and I don't need to take on his vision as he was rather than who he is as soul. His soul is being embodied in the moment with his own vision. That's the nature. We embody more of who we are when we go through the process of soul. We embody more of our strengths. Our weaknesses can come through to help us guide us into that idea of maybe I need to go a different route in another path sometimes, right? I'm weak in the business area. That's where Brenda is. I'm not familiar with the business aspect of who I am yet. So I'm working on that vision. And I'm carefully planting seeds of success for who I am. Not for who I am as me. I'm already there. But for who I am in that aspect of my life. So that's the joyful reunion with your soul that says, I can help you, honey. That's what she hears. And those are those souls that say she vibrates with various souls who are of business strength and acumen. And those are the wisdom words that everyone is holding on to. How do I get access to that? Well, at some point I will be placing a program upon the screen that people can start to see what soul vision really is and what it can do for us in that aspect. Because most people aren't necessarily going to be going to this idea that they want to go and give guidance to everybody. They want to receive their own love and wisdom. Now, for those of you that are honoring of my soul, I want to say thank you for watching. I love you, honor you, adore you as your souls would come through for you and say that vision. And as always, as Brenda's soul has said, stay curious, wise, and soulful. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe and have a wonderful, wonderful day.